So I finally got Theresa Ivancik, who is an elite professional bodybuilder who I've been trying to get for like, I don't know how long. What, we've been talking for like maybe 6 months?
Yep.
On and off. And I finally got the pleasure to interview you. And I first heard about you, now forgive me, but I first heard about you last year when you won the Chicago Pro.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your first pro win?
No, that was actually my second one.
Your second pro win.
Yep.
What was your first pro win?
2019 at the Norfolk Pro. I got first place there. And that was before, though, the Olympia. So that was just a qualification for the Rising Phoenix.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Yeah. All right. So what made you choose bodybuilding? Because a lot of girls, when they go into fitness, they either want to do figure, bikini. Those are the two most popular, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, or sometimes if they have like some kind of acrobatic skills, they go into fitness. But why bodybuilding for you?
Well, me growing up, we only had figure and bodybuilding.
That's
so
true.
either small or you were big.
Right.
And I started off in figure, and there was a lot of us, and I was coming out of an eating disorder, so I was really hesitant on actually eating the food and things like that. Well, the industry in the figure division was pretty saturated. There was a lot of us. And I was kind of like, and I just want to try something different. So then we decided to go to bodybuilding, and that's where I reprogrammed and taught myself that food is fuel, and I was not afraid to eat any longer. Then that's where I really found out what type of genetics I had, because I was just growing. I was adapting so much better. And then that's why I originally stuck to bodybuilding. I switched from figure. I did figure in 2007 and 8, took 9 off, and then I started my bodybuilding career in 2010.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what type of eating disorder did you have?
I had bulimia.
Bulimia. Do you talk to Donna Salib? She's also an IFA. She actually went through the same thing.
Okay. I think a majority of the girls have some type of eating disorder or body dysmorphia.
As professional bodybuilders or in general?
Just as a whole, like even all the girls coming in, whether they're amateur or not, most of us, like I think we leech to this because this is like discipline, this is structure, this is, taking us away from these other habits.
Okay. That's, because the reason why women's bodybuilding is my favorite division is, as far as women go, is because the one credit that you guys don't get enough of, the credit that you don't get enough of, is how mentally strong you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you and another IFBB pro, Donna, overcame bulimia and was able to rethink that and say, okay, food is my friend, and I need this to promote my business and promote my career. Mm-hmm. And then you did that. You literally made a complete 180. And the other reason why you have to be mentally strong is you're doing it out of passion. So what I mean by that is girls that are bikini girls do it because they kind of want to look good. They get endorsements relatively easy. Whereas when it's bodybuilder, it's a bit of a struggle, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of time and effort to put that kind of muscle on, more so than any other women's category. Mm-hmm. And your endorsements aren't always there because it's not this huge category like bikini or physique or whatnot. And also you guys hear a lot of crap, whether it be on social media or in person. You get a lot of trolls. Mm-hmm. And to your benefit and to the majority of the girls that you compete with, you literally just have to be, like it doesn't bother you, and that's why when I started my YouTube channel, I made sure that, not that I'm a huge YouTube channel, but hopefully I'm growing and getting there. I made sure that I want to represent bodybuilding as a whole, including women's bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. And that's my reason why.
If it wasn't for the Wings of Strength, we really wouldn't have this huge platform. Now, I started with them whenever it was on the downhill slope. Mm-hmm. So, we stuck, there was just a handful of us that was really like, okay, I really want to support female bodybuilding. I know we can make this happen. And then there was that other half that was like, I have nowhere to go. I'm going to Physique. and they kind of just gave up on female bodybuilding. And then it was like, you know, we got everything going, and it took some time. You know, we did some reality TV shows. We did a lot of different like things to help promote it through Jake Woods and the Wings of Strength. And then it was like, once it took off, it's like, here they come, they're coming back around again, which I was kind of hurt about, because it was just like all of us that like did all the dirty work, you know, opened up the platform, and then here we are. And then some of them they came back, you know, because the division is open now. But if it wasn't for Jake and then the Wings of Strength, I mean, the women's bodybuilding, I don't even know if we would even be here.
It wouldn't exist. Absolutely. Absolutely. And not only is it existing, it's exploding. It's exploding. I mean, there's a lot of good women's bodybuilders out there now. I mean,
there are a lot coming from overseas. A lot are just either saying, okay, you know what, I am being told that I'm too big for women's physique now, you know, and then they can see themselves more as a bodybuilder, and they can condition really well. And then a lot of them are coming up from women's physique, and they're knocking a lot of good bodybuilders out that were already originally bodybuilders because of the conditioning they can bring.
Yes. So you won the Chicago Pro last year, and then the year before you won the Norfolk Pro, you said?
Norfolk, yep.
Yeah, okay. And then you did the Olympia last year.
Yes.
And then how did you do? How did you place?
I didn't place like I thought I wanted to. I mean, we were like pretty much at the very, very bottom, last call out. First off, it was a complete honor to even be there, let alone have it be the very first year that we returned. So that's just something that's just going to go down in history. It's everybody's dream to actually make it to the Olympia stage. And there is a lot of people that will never, ever, ever get to step on that stage. And there's also a lot of people that won't turn pro. So I really, really, really say that I've earned that spot there, and I let it all kind of sink in, because sometimes we don't know if we're going to be back or we're not going to be back. But the main goal now is like to come back in 2022, win a pro show, and then place in that top 5 at the Olympia. I mean, that would be the ultimate next, you know, goal going back.
Yes. That seems to be a lot of people when they first make the Olympia. That seems to be their mindset for like, making it is just even, it's amazing, but you always seem to want more and more. Every bodybuilder that I interview that has made it to the Olympia says the same thing. Same thing you said. And then all of a sudden, now I want to place. Now I want to get top 5. Now I want to win it, you know. This year you did Chicago. And how did you do?
Okay, so last year in the Olympia, because of my placing, I was told by a handful of judges on the panel that it was time I needed to drop down. I needed to go to women's physique. So the way that I was coming in condition with the coach that I currently had, I was coming in smaller. I was atrophying a little bit, losing some muscle tissue. I wasn't as big as I know I could potentially be. So that's where I made the switch, and I started working with John Meadows. And then whenever I started working with him, he brought out the bodybuilder in me, and now I'm going to women's physique. So it kind of like really had a damper there, because he knew how to keep me full and thick and hard and still keep a good shape. But I had more of like a bodybuilder structure this time going into the women's physique division. So
this year you did women's physique?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that baffles me, because you did so good last year in women's bodybuilding and the year before. Okay.
Yep.
So go ahead.
So I was just taking like what the judges had told me from the Olympia. I figured, you know what, why not? I'm not afraid, you know, let's just see what we can do. But then it really goes to show the different styles that some coaches have in order to bring the conditioning to the stage. So if I would have stayed with my other coach, I might have done really well in women's physique, because that's just how we kept coming in. And then when I had switched to John, I mean, he really had everything at a full-blown shape and fixed everything that I possibly needed to fix. And it was just more bodybuilder-ish. But I mean, I still didn't place bad. I think there was still 25 girls in our class. So I still got 7th. But it wasn't home, like, to me, because I'm so used to being a bodybuilder. So I kind of felt really off that day. You could tell on my face on some of the stage photos. It was like I was there, but I was not really having the best time doing it. So
well, let's now that we got to John Meadows, let's talk about him. That was a tragedy. But he didn't coach you for that long. No,
it was literally the stuff that he did with me in 6 months was. I got told I don't even know how you change like that. I mean, it was just the knowledge that he had, the training methods he had, the style of the diet that he had was so different than anything that I've ever done before. And he's very, very knowledgeable. And I mean, he was a phenomenal person to work with.
Did he get to see you on stage?
Yeah, he was there. So this was the first time that he actually has gone to a bodybuilding show in probably like 10 years, not including the Olympia, just like a regular show. He had texted me and asked me for my hotel like address, and I gave it to him, and I literally got a text back, and he's like, okay, I'm booked. I'm like, wait a minute, you're coming? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm coming. So I got him a backstage pass, and like we took him out to dinner. We had some drinks, and he had the best time ever. And everybody that I talked to after he had passed away said that he wouldn't stop talking about being in Chicago. Good. Because he was kind of like a little hero there. I mean, everybody was taking pictures with him, and like he was just having the time of his life.
Well, he was on his way to be a legendary status. There's no two ways about it. He was on his way to being a Charles Glass.
Yep.
You know, he was because he was changing a lot of bodybuilders for the better. You know, and a lot of people were going to him. I mean, Samson Dowder went to him. I know Guy Cistanito went to him. Fouad Abiad.
Terrence, Missy.
Who? I'm sorry?
Terrence, the one that just won.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, Missy just won.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. So,
and then he just the last post that he made on himself on Instagram was Brooke Walker, because she just won the last show she did. She qualified for the Olympia.
Yeah. So he definitely had tremendous talent as a coach. There's no two ways about it. What did he wind up passing from?
I think pulmonary heart, condition, because he had the heart attack a couple years ago. And then he had told me, when we met and we were at his house, he had told me that he knows it's coming. There's just no say so on when it's going to happen, because he was just prone to have, blood clots, and he was taking medication and stuff for it. But it was just the matter of the time and the day and when it was going to happen.
That is tragic. Because he could have been, there was
so much more that he was going to bring to the table.
There's no question.
I mean, his YouTube was just getting started. I mean, the stuff, more knowledge he was learning, and the more people he was like interacting with was crazy. His granite company was doing phenomenal. It was all just escalating.
No question. He was a bodybuilder, and I always say this, and I truly believe this in any sport. He was a bodybuilder. It took him a long time to turn pro.
Mm-hmm. He actually turned pro the year I did.
Okay, yeah, 2013. 2016?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2016. Yeah. So, that's right. You're right about that. Sorry about that. The best coaches are always the athletes that struggle to make it. For whatever reason, you go down to any sport, and that's the case. The best coaches always turn out to be the decent athlete. So, like, I don't know if you follow baseball, but Joe Torre, this tremendous Yankees manager, they used to call him Clueless Joe when he was a baseball player. Yeah. Billy Martin, like, he was lucky if he hit 220. Phil Jackson was a backup basketball player. He was a bench player. And any sport you go to, this is the case. And it's probably because in order for those athletes to get better, they don't have the raw talent. They have to make sure all their I's are dotted and all their T's are crossed, and they have to do their homework in order to keep up with the natural talent, the LeBron James, the Derek Jeters, so on and so forth. And they always seem to have better people skills.
Oh yeah. Yep.
They always seem to have better people skills and be able to convey whatever they're trying to teach.
Yep.
It's just a tragedy because he was really just starting to blow up in the last 2 to 3 years and become a legendary status coach. But heart goes out to his family. So we had another tragedy. Sorry, and you also paid homage to her, and that was Alina Hatvani. And she passed like a week or two before a contest? Or maybe even closer.
No, I think it was at the contest.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't you speak on that? Because I remember you did have some heartfelt words for her.
Well, because I had gotten a message saying that, do you know so and so? She just passed out backstage. She's with the EMT. They're taking her to the hospital. And then I got another text really shortly after that said that, I'm sorry, she just passed. And I didn't have like a very personable relationship with her, but I mean, I know a lot of the stuff that does go on behind closed doors that a lot of people don't know about, you know, for us, you know, as athletes and whatnot. So I reached out to Alina and I let her know before it went public, you know, so she would have an idea of, you know, what was going on or whatever. But it's just, it's devastating. We all don't know the whole true story. You know, we don't know what she was doing and what she was not doing. You know, we all talk about, and that's what happened. It got targeted on the coach's protocol. It may not have been, you know, we don't know. Cause it's both parties. I mean, one was saying to do one thing, but I know a lot of people that say they want a little bit more and then they add a few more, you know, we don't know if it went that far, you know, so that's where it's a hard subject.
And how old was she?
That I'm not 100% sure.
Well, she was still relatively young. I mean, she was not, you know, she was still an athlete, so she had to be relatively young.
Yeah.
But again, two tragedies this year in bodybuilding, and it seems to be happening more and more often. But I think it's because there's more and more people in the sport now.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot more division. Yeah, tremendous. You know, a lot more divisions.
And I think too, I mean, social media. Because like back then, if somebody passed away or whatever, it wasn't blasted all over social media.
No, not
because
at all.
We weren't that aggressive with it just yet. So now I feel like it's just so much more well known because everybody can just hit a button and then everybody knows about it
in a second.
Yeah,
absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely. So what is so what coach are you working with now?
So I currently don't have one.
Okay.
But I have been in talks with trained by JP, Jordan Peters.
Okay.
I'm looking at possibly starting with him in the next couple weeks. So we're going to kind of game plan on things. We just touched base on like what the packages are and, you know, how he does things and whatnot. And then I had a couple events that I was just kind of prepping for my awards ceremony and stuff. And I wanted to just kind of stay on a little pre-contest prep. And then I was going to start with him right after I got done with my, with that. So probably starting within the next couple weeks.
What made you gravitate toward him?
So I was looking, you know, at different people and like what they were bringing to the table and stuff. And I reached out to a few people and this is going to sound really odd, but when I got an email back from him, I felt like I was speaking to John. I mean, I don't know what it was, but it was either the way it was worded, the way he talked, the way he cared. I felt like John was just saying, this is it. And I really didn't look much further after I felt that way. So I was just like, that's it. I'm not even going to look anymore. And I feel like we would work very, very well together.
Yeah, that seems to be a big, a common trait with athlete and coach is the chemistry. You know, I don't do much bodybuilding anymore. I mean, I was always an NPC guy. I was never really, but the last guy, you know, I went to, there was no chemistry
connection. Yeah.
So it would be like I would go to his gym. I would go see him, and he'd be like, "Okay, say okay, do A, B, and C," and I would do A, B, and C, and then all right, come back and see me next week, and then I would go. You know, I never felt like there had to be a connection. It's like, okay, tell me what to do, I'll do it, so on and so forth. But then there was times where I was struggling with my diet or with my training or with progress, and it's like my attitude was, I can't talk to him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I didn't realize how important that was. And obviously,
you don't know what kind of answer you're going to get, or if he's even going to care, or if he's even going to respond. And
at your elite level, I think that is necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead. You can speak on it.
I have a ton of clients that I do online, and I will tell you right now, half of them live 2 hours away. They come see me every single week, and I will kick their ass because that's what we're there to do. Right. And I mean, I know what you're talking about. It's almost like your physical therapy where they say, hey, go over there and do 3 sets of 10 and then come see me. I'll tell you what to do next.
Right.
That's not a coach. That's not hands-on because I just videotaped all my people, you know, so they can actually see what they're doing. Like we have to be super involved, you know, and then it's like, if they're having a bad week, yes, I'm the therapist. I'm going to pick them up, you know, and say, hey, we got to get things together. We got to, you know, work on this, and this, you know, and then you try to get them back to being level-headed. You just can't let them like tread through the water all by themselves. Like they hired you as a coach, so you have to be there as a coach.
Is that part of the job you enjoy or not so much?
I do, because, you know, when I was doing this, I was just, it was internet. It was, I mean, I was reading magazines. I didn't have that. So whenever I first got the taste of actually having a coach and having like someone to give my check-in pictures to and someone to actually answer my questions, it was a whole new ballgame. So I want everybody that starts these, I guess, journeys in this fitness industry, you know, to try to compete. I want them to have a good time doing it, you know, and understand it. And then if maybe we don't click, you know, there's other coaches out there, because I'm not going to be the best for everybody, you know, but with my girls, I mean, I'm really close with them. They're all like family to me, you know?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You know what I think? So with me, I think it was more like a man thing where it's like, nah, I'm fine. I can handle it. Just tell me what to do. You know what I mean? It's not, it was more like, you know, but there were times where, you know, I'm like, it ain't so easy. I really need to talk to somebody. And, well, anyway. So next year, what show are you gunning for next year?
So I got to talk to him, and we're going to game plan and stuff. But I am looking at more of an earlier show, because I'd rather get the show done earlier, because I'm having a nice break. I'm enjoying it all. So after Chicago, it's just been like, I've been able to jump on the bike and go out to eat and hang out with friends. And it's just, I remember I did 3 shows last year, so I didn't get that opportunity. I was prepping all year. And then with all the COVID stuff, you were on, then you were off, and all that jazz. But I think an earlier show that I really want to focus on, and then try to win that, and then just take a little bit of time and then be ready for the Olympia.
Well, the New York Pro was this year. I think they only had like 5 or 6 girls in it.
That's kind of what I was looking at.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, if you do the New York Pro, let me know, because I live.
Yes. I've never done that one yet. I'm trying to do them all.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a great show to do, because that has a lot of prestige. You know, it used to be before the New York Pro was
Toronto Pro.
No. Before the New York Pro, what was the name of the show before it turned into the New York Pro? It was.
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. Oh, this is gonna kill me now. Watch. I'm gonna message you on Instagram tonight.
Yep.
It's this one. Guaranteed. I can't believe I can't remember the name of it. But so you're gonna win that show, and then you're gonna go on to the Olympia.
Yes.
And you're gonna try to crack the top 5.
Yes. That's the game plan.
That is the game plan. It seems to me. I also interviewed Sheena Oleg.
Yeah.
And it looks to me, I also interviewed Leah Denny. You guys have the same type of physique, if that makes sense. It's very aesthetic.
Yep.
It's very X-frame-ish.
Yep.
It looks like a bodybuilder, but athletic at the same time.
Yes, I agree.
You know, that seems to be what they're rewarding.
Yep. It's a well-balanced, like, shape, still lines, femininity. We're not coming in like rock hard, you know, and dry. It's just, but when we flex, it's there. So it's that nice, like, smooth look, but we've got everything popping, you know.
Is that the type of physique that you admire, or are you doing it because that's what they're rewarding?
I admire it. And that's kind of like where I like to keep it, that classy, feminine, you know, shapely, you know, balance and symmetry. I like to keep it that way. That's just me, you know, and that's my style. You know, I don't want to try to come in, you know, extremely rock hard and just all dried out, full of gear. I mean, that's just not, to me, what bodybuilding is all about.
Okay. Well, it seems to be the right path, because that's what they're rewarding. And it seems to be a formula that you have down.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because it's, you know, some girls are still kind of like looking for it. And how much do you think genetics plays in that? Because to me, it looks like that plays a big role.
It does.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
I mean, it just, like, you can tell, I mean, I even just use my sister as an example. You put her beside me, we are 2 total different people. She is full of estrogen, just like my mother, and I'm full of testosterone, just like my pap, my brother, and my dad.
Right.
So it's like, you got to look at that as a whole, because my sister and my mom's got that nice, soft, like, just thinner look that it's going to be very hard for them to build any type of muscle tissue, where me and then the other half of the family, it's easier. So it's like Alicia was, you know, Alicia Young talked about that. You know, when she was in high school, you know, she was like one of the bigger girls, and she hated it. But then she found something that she could actually do, and it was more of a passion to her, where she could show off what she actually was made of.
Right.
Like, you weren't fighting it. You were just letting your body kind of do its thing. And I try to tell a lot of the girls that I'm trying to move up into different divisions, I'm like, you are not a figure girl anymore. You know, like, you just be proud and don't fight it, you know, because I'm going to try to drain you and we got to be like lanky, or we're going to lose muscle tissue along the way. Go where your genetics are going to let you go. And
there's plenty of divisions to do that, right? Yep. Especially for women. But you're right. I have known girls that have, like, I'm not figure, I'm doing bikini, and it's like,
yep.
Kinda, yeah, no, you're right about that.
Yep.
So that's the future. And I believe the future is going to be well rewarded next year for you, because, like I said, you know, in the bodybuilding division, you are one of the elites. There's no question about it.
Thank you.
So you said you did not see the Arnold Classic this past weekend.
No.
No. Did you see any pictures, highlights, anything?
I saw pictures.
Okay.
And right. I saw, like, we chatted a little earlier about the controversy between Steve and Nick. Yeah. And then I just saw Sergio's post.
Right.
So I'm kind of starting to put little pieces, you know, here and there together. So
yeah, the fact that Nick won is tremendous. He deserved to win. There's no question about it. I mean, his rear double by is just lights out.
Yep.
It lights out. You know, he, you know, almost has a Phil Heath real double by. You know, so he deserved the win. The rest seemed to be very controversial, but as far as I can see, the pizzazz that Nick brought and the magic that Nick brought that he won on his first attempt at the Arnold Classic kind of overshadowed that, the little bit of controversy. Two of my favorite two sports that I've always loved growing up was bodybuilding and boxing. And I've lost my taste for boxing because of these controversial coils. You know, you ever watching a fight, I'm sure you have, and you go, how the hell did they give it to that guy?
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And you go, how, you know, clearly the other guy won. How did they give it to that guy?
Yep.
And after this Arnold Classic, I'm saying to myself, I really hope that doesn't happen to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Because the controversy was clear. So Nick and Steve were the top two all morning. And they had them pulled out, and then the rest went back, and they had them posing down for a while too. They were comparing them for a while. And then they had from 3 to 6, so on and so forth. They come back. It didn't look like Steve really looked any different. If anything, it may have been a little drier.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't have a trained eye, right? I'm just a YouTuber. I'm just a fan.
Yep.
And
sometimes, I mean, I will say, depending on if you are watching it on TV, when you are at the show,
it
you
makes
are
a difference.
up a little bit closer. The illusions is a lot different than the TV.
Right.
So that does play a big effect. And it's hard because then you see one thing one way, and then they're showing it, you know, the other. And it's hard for you to see exactly unless you're actually there.
Yeah.
To physically see what they're looking at.
And I completely agree. What threw me off is that they had Nick and Steve all morning. So if they had Nick and Ian all morning, I'd be like, oh.
I can see where, that's great.
So then they call him out, and Ian comes in second, and they drop Steve to second. And from what I understand, Steve's wife went batshit. I don't, and she should. I mean, it was really something else, you know. The other thing was in 2014, the Arnold Classic made the posing round 30% of your overall score, and they gave a $10,000 check and a plaque for best poser. So Sergio Oliva Jr. wins best poser, but in the posing round he comes in 6th.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you were splitting hairs there. He was clearly the best poser.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean, where I really hope bodybuilding doesn't go the route of boxing, where it's just like, we're going to pick the one we want, and everybody has to shut up and take it. Because that would really put a bad taste in my mouth.
I mean, going along the lines of what you're talking about, I mean, and this is going back to the Rising Phoenix, not this past year, but in 2020, the same thing happened. I had gotten 7th there that year, but when they took all the people out for the first call-outs, Andrea Shaw was actually in 4th. And they had 2 other ones on there and took them completely off and then moved everybody around. Well, then when they brought them back at night for another comparison, they never compared Hella and Margie and Andrea together. They called like Nikki out, who ended up getting 6, and they just kept a nice, huge, long round with those two going back to back, which threw everybody off.
Right.
And then when they called Andrea to win, it was kind of like, what happened?
Yeah.
She was in 4th the entire time, and then all of a sudden she won.
Right.
So it just happened literally last year at the Rising Phoenix. I mean, I don't understand it, and I still don't.
Right.
But it's the same thing that just happened at the Arnold.
And it's I mean, I don't know if there's politics around. I don't know if I just don't have an untrained eye. And to my credit, because I don't have an untrained eye, I invited Paul Lazan, who is an IFBB judge, to come on and talk about it. He'll be coming on tomorrow because maybe he could shine some light on it. That's something that I don't know or that the average spectator doesn't know. Because bodybuilding was going good for a while. Like there were plenty of years where it was like, did Dorian really deserve to win that one when NASA really looked good right before Dorian retired? It's like, oh, you probably could have gave it to NASA that year, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you could go down the line. There was always these questionable, there's always these questionable, Victor Martinez and Jay Cutler was another big controversial one,
Yeah.
And then they kind of, I think with the pressure of social media and people, it was like, okay, Phil, Sean Roden, Brandon, Big Ramy, and everybody agreed with those calls. It's like, okay, yeah. Now they're kind of getting it. And then all of a sudden they make this sharp left. And it's like, oh, I hope it really is not going to go that way again. Because this one was really blatant and in your face. And I think if anybody else would have won besides Nick, this would be more of a topic on social media. Because Nick won, and Nick is like the superstar in making, that's the story of the day, you know?
Yep. I mean, and then we touched base on the point system, with the, we got 7 body parts,
right?
And what we just talked about, like where, was it Rita? You just said
Rita West,
had a phenomenal back, and then like gets, depointed when she turns around to the front.
Right.
But we have 7 different body parts, know, and eventually they should all end up equaling out. And that's how you should tally and get your points at the end of the day.
Right. But with the Sergio thing, it's like, does the posing round count or not? Because that was the whole reason Kai beat Cedric in 2014. Because Kai is probably one of the greatest posers that ever lived, right? Yep. And so now does it not count anymore? And if it doesn't, please tell us, because now it does. Then Sergio could concentrate on something else besides this amazing, elaborate posing. His posing was phenomenal. I honestly, even if he took the posing out, I didn't agree with him being 6th. Honestly, I think he was hard enough, and I think his structure and his size. I mean, he stood next to Ian, and he was as big as Ian, and Ian's a big dude, And I thought he deserved a little better than 6 personally. But again, I have an untrained eye. Me and Paul Lazan are going to talk about it,
We're going to see what happens there.
So maybe he might, say something that might shine a light on it and go, oh, okay, I never realized that. I never realized it did this. I never realized it did that, But Theresa, I'm going to let you go. But and it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor having you on. I mean, really, you're an absolute sweetheart. And I know it took some time for you to get on, but you never ignored my messages. You're always like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. It's just, I can't do it now. And your credit, you did. I'm hoping that after the season, what I would like to do is have a few of the girls that I've already had on and have one big female bodybuilding podcast and talk about bodybuilding. I don't know if you know the other girl. Who did I interview? Sheena, Rita, Leah, and Donna. I think, did I interview anybody? I think you're number 5. That's a lot. But we'll figure it out. And I'll give you the invite, and hopefully after the season's over, you'll come and it'll be fun. Yep, absolutely. Oh, do you want to plug anything?
You can follow me on Instagram.
Do you just prep, or you do personal training as well?
I do. I mean, I do everything. We own a gym, a t-shirt company, insurance. I do online preps. I do in-house training, all that kind of stuff. But you can follow me on the Instagram, Ivancik _IPB Pro, Facebook, under Theresa Ivancik. There's a link tab in my bio on IG with all the people that I'm interacting with all my coupon codes. So,
okay, I'll make sure that your Instagram is in the description. And if anybody wants to get in shape, Theresa could definitely do that and prep you for contests at any level. So I'll make sure it's out there so people can see it clearly, click it and just contact you.
Yep. Thank you.
Theresa, thank you very much. It's been an honor, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.